August and September ended up being extremely busy months for me in terms of my real life. I ended up moving. I have now moved. I'm in my new house with my new bookshelves behind me, and it was just a crazy time that I ended up not really having a chance to film. I think I didn't read hardly anything in August. I slumped hard, but I was mainly moving. We ended up having like 2 days to move, which were the most mental days of my life. I ended up working a bunch. I got very sick, and then like we had no Wi-Fi for like a week. It was still not 100% settled. It's nearer the end of September at the moment, but like I'm still kind of living out of bags, but like I'm mostly settled in the spaces we have. There's just odds and sods that still need sorting out. So yeah, I ended up thinking, instead of trying to do a September TBR, let's just do a little bit of an early October TBR to get myself a bit of a head start on for October. In terms of October's TBR, I'm going to be participating in a TBR Harvest hosted by Leandra from Leandra at the TBR Zero. Leandra was kind enough to ask me to contribute a prompt for the bingo board section of this TBR. There are 3 different board games you could play for this TBR if you want to participate. I will leave it linked down in the description. I highly recommend you do. Check out Leandra's channel as well. She is lovely. So if you do the bingo prompt, you might end up getting a prompt from me. So I'm actually going to be doing the pumpkin patch one as well as the TBR bingo. I think I'm going to try and do 2 specific reading vlogs for them, where I just, for the bingo, try and get a bingo, but the pumpkin one, try and just read as much as I can in a week or 2 weeks or something. So that is my plans for those. Going forward now from my TBRs, I'm going to start with doing a Herkyed spinner wheel. This is not an original idea. I've seen quite a few different creators do this, and it's something that I've actually like, you know, I'm about 3 months into Herkyed, which is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, created by Q. Everything, by the way, I talk about will always be linked in the description. But basically, I'm going to now need to start actually kind of consciously thinking about prompts. I thought, because I knew I was moving, I would just like read what I can read and like put them books in where they fit. But some of the harder prompts now I'm going to need to make sure I'm quite conscious about. So I'm going to start with a spinner wheel, and it's going to pick a specific group of things to concentrate on. Herkyed is essentially a big bingo board where each of the squares has some kind of other incentive. You don't just read one book for them. There's some of them you really could read as much as 10, whereas some you could read 1. So yeah, really cool. I'll check it out. We are about 3 months in now, so I need to start thinking about what I'm actually going to be reading. So I'm going to start with that up, and then I will just kind of see what we get and see if I can fit it into the wheel. I have not put all of the prompts in the wheel because there are some that are going to be much easier to fit in terms of like color ones, year ones, and then also some that I have specific ideas for. So everything else I have left. Also, me and my sister, well, they're technically my sisters, but we got kittens. I've locked them out of the room while I played my TBR board game because they would go feral for the pieces. But yeah, if you can hear anything in the background, that is them. I will introduce you though at the end. So yeah, let's do a quick spin of the wheel for Herkyed. And that is spooky creatures, which actually works out perfectly for October. So if I can, I'm going to try and find some spooky creatures to pop into Herkyed. So looking back at the last time I played my TBR game, it was July, and I did complete July's TBR, which means I get a reward for the month. My rewards are very basic and are just kind of a little bit of motivation for me, and that is that I can complete my TBR board game this month by reading 1 less book than I get. So if I pick 5 books, I only need to read 4 of them to complete the TBR and not have to take a punishment. So yeah, they're very like minuscule, minor things. They're just kind of something that I kind of created as a little bit of a motivation to me to try and finish TBRs, because I do want to try and actually read the books I say I'm going to. So our spooky creatures, we do have vampire shifters, magic users, fae folk, spirit, merfolk, zombies, and other creature. Other creature I think I've probably filled with dragons, but the rest I'm going to try and keep in my noggin as we play. So let's jump into roll number 1 for the month of October. Oh, I don't have my manga jar, I'll grab that in a minute. Let's go for roll number 1, which is a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is of course a manga jar. So I realized I did not have my manga jar set down, so I will just pull one now. Now for Herkyed, I do not want to fill the script bases if I can with manga, so I'm just going to be picking, well, I mean, I'm going to be randomly picking whatever, but like that's kind of a goal that I don't want to do. I'm going to go for this series. Let's put that down, and it is, oh, God, I can't read that at all. Slam. Okay, this is Slam Dunk. Slam Dunk is by Takahiko in Norway. I only have 3 volumes of the series, so I'm just going to put the first 3 on my TBR for the month, and we'll see how we go. This is a basketball manga. I think it started in like the 90s. It's quite an old one, and it's quite a popular one as well. I know Takahiko in Norway is a very renowned manga artist. Really good stories, really like emotional depth, and I love a sports series, so I think this will be one I really enjoy. Heard a lot of great things about it, and looking forward to getting into it. So hopefully I will get through all 3 of these in the month of October. Not spooky in whatsoever, but it should be good fun. On to roll number 2. Is a 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A green prompt. which is a North American author. So I've just put in my little TBR cart here. I'm going to do a video actually kind of sharing what I've got on the TBR cart. I realised I haven't done that yet, but you can kind of see it in the background. I basically have a bunch of books that are ones I've owned for a really long time, but also continues in series on there to try and really hone in my head to pick series that I'm in the middle of. And so one on there that is a North American author that I can read is Clockwork Prince. This is the second one in the Infernal Devices series by Cassandra Clare, and the first one had vampires were quite prevalent in the plot, so I'm going to assume they're going to be in this one as well. This is a series which I'm sure most of you have probably heard of, Cassandra Clare's like Mortal Instruments, Shadowhunter universe. This is the kind of second series in it that was released. I have read all 6 of the original Infernal Devices. Nope, Mortal Instruments. So I technically should have read this between, I think, the trilogies, but I didn't. But I really enjoyed the first book in this. This follows a American girl who has come to England in like Victorian England looking for her brother, and in doing so she ends up getting involved in this world of Shadowhunters. Shadowhunters are essentially like Nephilim children that hunt demons, vampires, monsters, creatures, whatnot. So there are there are a lot. Don't know what I'm trying to say there. Pefala. There's a lot of different kind of creatures in this, spooky creatures in this book. So yeah, hopefully vampires play a significant part, because when again using Herculid, I do want to do it with like actual significant play. I don't want it just to be like a random vampire in a couple of chapters and use that for the prompt. I want to try and make it that it's quite a significant part. So yeah, but I think it will be, because it was in the first book, and I think the vampires are potentially going to be the big bad for this series. So that is the first novel though for the month, which I'm actually really looking forward to because I did enjoy the first one. Roll number 3 is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is white, which is a free pick. That's a natural 20, isn't it? Yeah. So that's 10. I think that's 20. Dun, dun, dun. So red is our danger spots. Okay, next prompt, pick 2 books. That is not too bad. Now, however, I did not land on a prompt for the red square, so we're just going to roll again, which I think is just going to land me on home. Yeah. So I need to pick 2 books for these prompts. I usually merge the prompts together so I could split them. Yeah, I'll do that. So, the green prompt. A romance. That's Rogue for October. With a female main character, which works perfectly together. And then another manga series, which says Chibi Vampire, which works lovely for October. Okay, so as you saw, I landed on a red. I had to pick 2 prompts. Now, usually in the last space, if I can combine the prompts, I do. The 2 prompts that I got was female main character and romance, which is probably the easiest prompt you could combine together to do. So I instead am going to split them and pick 2 books, and that way is the 2 books for the 2 prompts. I have ended up with very few books for this month, which is fine, because then it gives me loads of options to like mood read and whatnot throughout the month. For the final square for manga space, I landed on Chibi Vampire. I think there's 14 volumes in this series. I own 8. This is a YA kind of vampire romance series. It's very like funny slice of life about our main girl, Karen, who is a vampire in a vampire family, but she can bear the sun. She goes to a regular school, and she's not very good at drinking blood. Instead, she kind of ends up like, when she's like hungry, she kind of gushes blood out a lot, which kind of causes a bit of a spectacle. And then she, in the first volume of this, has kind of discovered her taste, what her blood taste is, that vampires in this world have like a different kind of blood that they're preference to, and hers she found out is people who suffer, I think was what it was. Romance ends up budding between her and this guy whose blood she finds very interesting. I did have an anime which I watched when I was younger, which I quite enjoyed, and I found these on Vintage, so I did pick them up. But yeah, I'm going to read as much of this as I can of what I own, but this is volume 2. For the prompt of romance, also sticking with the theme of trying to get a spooky creature, Chibi Vampire, although it would count for vampires, isn't going to count because it's a manga. I'm going to go for Hex and Hexability. This is a book that I got from the Lot Library in last September, so it's been a while since, and I need to read it. So it's got like sprayed edges, it's quite nice. Lot Library also always do very like a nice something on the cover and then have all these same spines. So if you did want to like line them all up, they would match, which I really like. And it's basically about Lady Tiffany Worthington, who's always had a special talent for making the world around her come to life, whatever she wants it to or not. But it's only with the arrival of her mysterious great aunt on the eve of the Battle of Waterloo that she learns she's a witch, and that the magic she long feared is actually a gift to be embraced. It sounds like there's a handsome duke. The cover kind of gives romance, so I'm not sure if the romance is the main plot, but I feel like it's going to be a pretty prevalent plot. So this is going to work for spellcasters, for Herked, and also it's going to be a nice read, I think, for October. I've gone a bit rogue. This is such a random book. I basically, on my TBR cart, have a bunch of books that I've owned since before 2020. I'm going to be doing like a whole kind of vlog series about trying to really read down my like TBR backlist. This is one of the books. I have no idea where I bought it. I have no idea where it came from, but I own it, and it is called Bitten. This is by Kelly Armstrong, but this is about Elena, who is your regular 21st century girl, self-assured, smart, and a fighting fit. She also just happens to be the only female werewolf in the world. Shifter is one of the prompts, so I think werewolf would work for that. So yeah, I haven't read any of the rest of it. I don't know what's going to be going on, but I own this, have owned it for ages. It's a small little trade paperback, and I thought I'd give it a go and see what I think about it and see if it works, see if I like it. I don't know if I will, but we'll find out. This is such a digestible stack for the month of October, and I've really managed to get some spooky-ish reads on here. Not really spooky, but I'm really happy with that. So we have Bitten by Kelly Armstrong for female main character, Hex and Hexability by Kate Johnson for romance, Chibi Vampire 2, Mangapool, Clockwork Prince for a North American author, and then Slam Dunk. So I actually think this is a great stack. Jumping in mid-editing this video because I'm a massive airhead and did not make any kind of note that I landed on a free pick, and so did not pick a book. I was finished this game thinking I had only 3 novels to read in the month. I do not. I have 4. To stick with the theme of trying to get a spooky creature in, I think all of the others are kind of spoken for because I have read a book in September that will work for fae folk as well as spirits. So to try and kick off the last of the spooky creatures that I need to, I'm going to be going for zombies, and a new book that I picked up secondhand, so not a new book, but a new book to me that I picked up secondhand in September is Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. This is by Jane Austen and Stephen Graham Smith. I love the story of Pride and Prejudice. I like zombie apocalypse stories, so I'm interested to read this. I have actually watched what I think the movie is inspired by this, which I didn't actually really like that much. But maybe it was just the timing, or maybe it's just not a very good adaptation. But yeah, this will also be on the TBR for free pick of the month, and also hitting off of that zombie prompt, which I'm, yeah, excited about. However, there will be more books that I will be attempting to read at some point throughout the month. Each month for Herked, I do have to read a new release, and you have 60 days from that release to basically read it. For August, I'm going to be trying to read the last Skander book, but I have not read book 4 in that series. So I need to read book 4 as well as book 5. It did come out on the 28th of August, so I have until roughly the 26th of October to get those 2 books read. So I need to jump on that and read that. I do need to do that soon. And as far as September goes, I do get book boxes, so I will be getting a fairy loot. So hopefully one of those will have been published in September. Sometimes they kind of give you stuff from August. There is the book The Second Death of Locke, which I have seen people talk about and does sound quite interesting. There is a new Thursday Murder Club book, which I'm only on book 3, but I could read 3, 4, and then read 5. That would be quite fun. There is the new Rebecca Ross book coming out, so again, I could read that. Seeping of Blood and Tea by Hassa Faisal is the second book. I have the first book, so could also try and read again both. Would be quite fun. So I do need to read a new book at least in September at some point, but I think in October I have my next one in the Poirot series coming out from me from my library, and also I think Crooked Kingdom is coming out audiobook wise, which I'm probably going to try and physically read, but I do also have the audiobook for that. But regardless, those are the books that also will be being read. But I only actually have to win my game. I have to read these 3 books and these volumes of manga, which this is such a manageable stack. There is no reason I shouldn't win my game. These are the books that I will be reading, but this also gives me a wonderful chance to kind of play both of Leandra's TBR games. I probably am going to see around if there's other October TBRs. If you are October readathons, if you guys are participating in the October readathons, do let me know. If you're looking to what particular you guys are reading, I'd love to know, get some more things on my radar. I do have a vlog that is going to be coming out, which is technically finishing my July TBR, and it's in from my flat, which is quite nice, but I am probably still going to put it up even though it's quite late. I have a bunch of other plans, but I just need to now film them. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching though. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your patience for me being on and off while we were moving. Mental times, but we are nice and situated now. We have cats, which I said I would introduce you. So let me pack this away and then I will grab the cats and introduce you to the cats quickly. This is Orbit. They don't like really being held. They like being stroked now, but yeah, this is Orbit. This is Axis. He is slightly more prefers being stroked, but hugged. They basically were from the shelter. They came in when they were 2 days old with their mum, and yeah, my sister adopted them. I think they wanted them to be adopted together, so my sister adopted them. They are her kittens, but I obviously look after them, and they are here and everywhere. They love climbing up the bookshelves. Some of the books on the bottom have already been chewed ever so slightly, so my special editions are higher up and away from them. But yeah, they're lovely. Hopefully new videos coming soon. I really appreciate you guys, as always, for sticking around, and thank you so much, and I'll see you again hopefully soon. Bye.